Hello and welcome. You're watching Cricbuzz Live. I'm Gaurav Kapur. With me, Dinesh Karthik and Zaheer Khan. This is our special on the India game. It is the DK GK ZK show. That's the one we're doing right now. Give you a little update of what happened in the match that is just finished. New Zealand has beaten Namibia by 52 runs, quite a significant margin. Felt like there could be a hiccup, felt like there could be an upset. A few points in time, perhaps, maybe, but otherwise, it was pretty much New Zealand all over Namibia if you leave a 3-4 over spell when New Zealand was batting. Otherwise, a job well done by them, quite clinical in their execution. India will be hoping to do exactly the same as they take on Scotland in the second game today. This game is happening in Dubai. India, of course, coming after a good win against Afghanistan. Big win against Afghanistan, and now taking on Scotland and trying to get another 2 points here as well. Not just 2 points, but doing to their net run rate what they did after that Afghanistan game, which is give it a booster shot. Give it a proper booster shot. Dinesh and Zaheer here still with me through the day. Dinesh, first, your reactions on New Zealand's win against Namibia. Quite clinical in their execution with the bowling.
Oh, absolutely. You could see the experience of the fast bowlers bowling the cutters, making it hard for the Namibian batsmen to get going. Both Saudi and Bolt were fantastic. You could see they used their experience over a period of time to bowl the right lengths and make it really hard for them. And they were the game changers in many ways. They took the game away from Namibia. Obviously, Santner has bowled well. Saudi, every time he comes on to bowl, finds a way to pick up a wicket. But at the end of the day, you could see New Zealand is way too strong as a bowling unit for Namibian batting.
Zach, for you, the pick of the bowlers for New Zealand?
I think Saudi started it. Saudi provided that breakthrough. Also got Veezy out at a crucial point. So I would say Saudi. But the spinners also did fantastically well. Bolt got those two wickets at the back end. I think overall they'll be just happy with the way and how clinical they were with the bowling effort.
Yeah, if you see, Saudi, of course, picked up 2 wickets. His 4 overs went for 15. Bolt, his 4 overs were 20. Also picking up 2 wickets and 1 wicket apiece for Santner, Neesham, and Ish Sodhi. Ish Sodhi, of course, getting hit on the face there with one ball that Visa hit. But everything is fine. All is hunky-dory. It's all good for New Zealand as well. They've picked up the 2 points. Well, I know Indian fans were cheering really hard for Namibia. But that's okay. Don't need to do that anymore. That's done. New Zealand is at 6 points now from their 4 games. India playing their 4th game today against New Zealand. And of course, if all goes according to plan, Dinesh, India should be also at 4 points today. But they'd want to definitely take their net run rate up a notch because it's still significantly behind both Afghanistan and New Zealand.
Yes, I think that's what we saw against Afghanistan. They were minus 1 point something. And from there on, they've come to plus, which is a big deal. And I'm pretty sure they'll do that today as well against Scotland, where they'll go, neck to neck, so to say, against Afghanistan and New Zealand in terms of the run rate. But the key is the points table at the right-hand side of that table. We need to get that 6 points. We'll be on 4 at the end of today, and we will be probably getting 6 after the Namibian game. But the key is, will New Zealand be on 6 as well? That's the big question. But for now, India and Scotland, I think obviously it's a key game for us. And always we should see them dominating Scotland.
New Zealand, of course, just has the 1 game left against Afghanistan, right? That's their only game that's left now. So, I don't know who we're going to be cheering for in that game. We'll have to wait and see how things pan out. Every game now, things are changing here. But let's talk about India first right now, coming off a big win against Afghanistan. Zach, very confident, a big morale booster that win must have been.
Definitely, and just in terms of approach, I think the chatter amongst that camp will be, and the dressing room will be, to just get to that net run rate, which is going to put pressure on these other teams, New Zealand and Afghanistan. So I think maximum you can get to is 6 points. New Zealand still has that chance of getting to 8 points, and that's the worry. But that's something which you can't focus on at this point. You just got to focus on getting win under your belt. India, Scotland, obviously you have to win the game. You are expected to win the game, and that we are expecting it to happen. But how you win the game is going to matter. You've seen in the last game against Afghanistan the intent which was lacking in the first couple of games with the bat. That changed drastically. So that's something which you will see the progression of that, which means that you are looking at that 200 number to start with. That's what the mindset will be of the Indian batters, and to boost that net run rate, it's better to bat first. I think get runs on board and then have that margin, which will really boost your net run rate.
Any
GK, I
change?
just want to add in here. Sorry
Yes.
for butting in. I just want to add in here. I don't think net run rate will be a problem at all for India, and I say that because right now New Zealand is on plus 1 point something, and Afghanistan is 1.6. Afghanistan has their last game against New Zealand. If New Zealand wins, then there's no question of run rate at all. It'll be done. Whereas if Afghanistan go on to win, and by all means, I do think it'll be a close game, then that 1.481 will come down, because it's like some batsmen having an average of 50. If they score a 25, or rather they score 100, their average might not go up. Whereas if somebody has a batting average of 20 and they score 100, the average will go up. So in that case, when Afghanistan does win against New Zealand, their run rate will still come down, even though they might get the 2 points, which is what we want. They'll still come down. And I have no doubt that India will be plus 1 point something at the end of beating Scotland and Namibia, which will definitely, the chances of India qualifying is very simple. They will go on to beat Scotland and Namibia and probably end up on the table where they're in terms of net run rate, they'll be second best for sure after Pakistan.
Yeah.
The question is only whether Afghanistan can upset a New Zealand. That is the big thing. So yes, as much as we speak about run rate, I do think we are in a very safe place there.
Yeah, so that's a great insight, DK, because the thing is that if it was only two teams that were tying, people would say if only India and Afghanistan were tying at points, then you'd say, oh, India beat Afghanistan in the group stage, so then they go through. But if it's a three-way tie, that's when the net run rate comes. I hope I've got that correct, right?
Correct. Absolutely correct.
But thank God, yeah. I mean, student is not my designation. But but it'll be if it's a three-way tie between New Zealand, Afghanistan, and India for that second qualifying position, that's when net run rate comes into play. And as you're saying, India is playing with relatively easier opposition today and in their last game. So you'd hope that, big booster shot happens to that. Before we discuss any changes, let me quickly tell you about the match party that's happening on Cricbuzz Plus. Of course, all these wonderful humans, these wonderful, fun cricket fanatic humans are there on the match party, 7:15 onwards. They are there. You can watch the game with them. It is a lot of fun. They've been doing this on all the India games, and trust me that no matter what happens on the field, if you're watching this, it just makes everything much easier. And we have Nehraji, surprise guest, is also crashing the party today. And and Zach knows, and DK knows, and I know, when Nehraji is at a party, that party is not a dull party.
That's for sure.
These are all this laughter of ours is all don't make us say any more kind of laughter.
Yeah, but this match party is fun. I went there against the New Zealand game, even though the game was a little disappointing, and the atmosphere there on that particular day was really, really gloomy. But we still managed to have some fun, and I enjoyed that kind of a concept, GK. It's good to just watch the game and just talk about it, and share your memories of or references, and pull each other's leg.
Yeah, it's very true, because when I did go into match party, which was the last game, everybody were like, "Oh, Zach came, but it wasn't a great game." So, but still, we had fun. Luckily, you've come on a day where India is doing so well, so there's going to be a lot more fun. They were singing, Abhijit was cracking some jokes, so the mood was even better, so to say.
Nice, and I'm sure that it'll be even better today against Scotland. I think they may just. It's just a rumor, but I think they may have. Some unlimited supply of Scotland's national beverage as well. It's hot chocolate. Why would you think that? What is everyone thinking? It's hot chocolate. That's the call, you people, I tell you. All right, let's come back and have some sober discussions about India's team changes. Do you see any happening, Zach? Would you make any changes at all in this 11?
I don't
get another spinner in. No,
happening. From where? GK?
From where means from the bench.
Tell me from where you can make that change. I think
I'm just saying, if another spinner instead of perhaps, if you want to get maybe, Bumrah or Shami to sit out one game, just say, chill in one game, or even instead of Shardul, let's say we want to play 3 spinners against them. No,
Did
no,
you say
not
chill
tempting.
in one game?
Yeah,
Chill
We're
in one
playing a
game.
World
still
Cup
in one
these
game, just because we want to make the change, right? And we
No,
can't
no, I'm
think of
asking
any.
you. I'm asking
No,
you in case
I don't see any changes.
no 3 spinners for you. Because if Hardik bowls 2 overs, then you've got your 3 seamer options. Maybe
Correct.
you have 3 spinners.
You got that balance, and then you have Ashwin, who you can use in the power play in the middle phase as an attacking option. And that's the
Yeah.
plan. Was pretty much said. They tried that with Varun Chakravarti, but they saw that they're not getting the wickets from him that much. He was able to contain, but not really be that wicket taking option at this level as yet. So Ashwin was the answer there. Uh, the problems, as we discussed earlier as well, has been not enough runs on board. So they tackled that beautifully in the last game. So I think they will want to just progress from there now, thinking that okay, this is the balance we have for the next couple of games. If you get to the semis, then the thinking hats will be back again, and then they'll think about what is the best possible scenario now that we are in semis. But till then, I think they'll stick to the playing 11.
I
Yeah.
personally feel that you could add Varun Chakravarti, because I feel obviously Scotland wouldn't have played anybody like that, and he becomes obviously a massive threat than any of the fast bowlers, because good players in IPL haven't picked him. So I do think that could be a change that they could think of. I don't know, maybe we'll know, but I do feel if they can throw in a Varun Chakravarti instead of either Shami or Shardul, it'll be a great option. Shami bowled well, so I don't see that happening. Only change maybe instead of Shardul. So I guess that's the only one if they want to, considering that probably they're better players of fast bowling than spin. But we'll have to wait and watch.
Well, I just want to tell you that last night, DK, that last night Zaheer and me were on the Hindi show, and for Virat's birthday, we had a wish for him. The wish was not that India wins the game, which we know they will win. Our wish for him was that he wins the toss. And you know what? Our birthday wish for him has come true. It's amazing. Let's clap for our own prediction coming right, Zach. It has happened. Virat. See, the thing with Zach is that when he makes predictions, they're right. Even when he doesn't make them and he's around them, they are right. Zach is just, he's Zen Zach.
No, but I would say you would have just wished for the right wish, right? You could have.
That semi-final.
Correct.
Yeah, no, that's
Then
not one wish. No, that's many.
you
That's
would have
then India
seen the
winning
upset
both, then
today.
someone beating someone, and someone. It's too complicated. It's too complicated a wish. That I have to save for my own birthday. But for Virat's birthday, I just wanted him to win the toss.
Your prediction has come true. My prediction has come true in the first game. Now that leaves only DK now on the show to predict. It makes our job easy now. It's just DK who is left with the prediction to get right. Let's give him ample opportunities now. We still have one full game now.
Yeah, but wait,
Whatever
he got it. He got it. He got it in the power play. Your power play prediction for Namibia was 38, and they got 36. So, well done, DK.
Then done. We're done. We're done with the predictions for the day.
That's it. We're done. We're done with the show as well. Thank you so much for watching Cricbuzz Live. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm right here. Don't worry about it. I'm right here. Virat Kohli has won the toss and has decided to bowl first, which, I mean, I know India's not done any chasing at all, but you think that today maybe they would have been tempted, Dinesh, to just bat first and blast Scotland out of the game?
Oh, no. They can blast Scotland out even by batting second, which they have an even better opportunity to do. They can easily score whatever Scotland scores within 12 to 15 overs, which will give them a massive boost in the run rate. And I think that's what they'll be doing. They have a solid bowling attack, and Dubai is a hard place to bat on when you bat under lights first up. So we can watch some real exhilarating action, I'm sure, once Bumrah and Shami get going.
Well, see, we both were saying they could. We didn't say they should, but we somewhere knew they would. They've done it. There is one change. Shardul is out and Varun is in. So they have decided to go with 3 spinners against Scotland. This is quite interesting because, I don't know, Zach, do you remember? I don't remember the last time India went in with 3 spinners in a T20 game, in a T20 international. I think it's a novel thing to see. It's a rare thing to see. A fun thing to see as well.
Well, the thought then is very simple. That Mujib got what 5 against them, and then the mystery element may come into play. So here is the thought process now: bowling first. So net run rate also, we want to kind of dig deep onto that. Is it better to bat first, put runs on board, because wickets don't really matter,
Yeah.
and if you're batting second, then you have to get those runs in a very very short span of time.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that is something which has always been confusing for me. I think I'll have to dig deep and figure that thing out.
I don't know. We just have to ask Joy, he's the proper geek that we have over here. We'll have to ask him. But Virat, it is playing on Virat's mind because Virat has said at the toss that no matter what total Scotland sets, they're going to do their level best, not just to chase it, but to chase it down quickly. So, India's intent. They've thrown the gauntlet down. I think as an opposing captain, as a Scottish captain, it must be so disorienting and unnerving to hear that, right? India's not just talking about chasing the total. It's like, that's fine, whatever you score. Not that we'll get it. We're going to get it quickly. DK, that's just... For the Scottish captain, that's just like, oh, man. It's like, why am I even here?
Oh, yeah. One of the... Mark Watt, he's bowled really well for Scotland. He's come out and said, I'm planning to get Virat Kohli out on his birthday. So, everybody are throwing their lines in. It's going to be interesting to see who wins this battle.
That's right. You can throw your line in and then you can wait and watch and see who catches any fish. Talking about the battle of finger spinners here. We've, as you said, Watt, of course, has said some stuff, as has Ravichandran Ashwin. We've got Mark Watt's quote first. Let's just pull that up for you. There's been a lot of talk about kind of finger spinners, right? And leg spinners are all the flavor in T20 cricket, and finger spinners kind of get left behind. He's saying the wickets you get in international cricket these days, they don't do a lot for finger spinners. It's about trying to keep the batter guessing, trying to keep them watching you all the time, and finding any sort of advantage you can get. White ball cricket for a finger spinner is tough. It's also what Ravichandran Ashwin said, because you know that Ashwin doesn't bother with all of this. It's so tough for us finger spinners and everything. He does it. This is what Ashwin said. He is a lot more confident, a lot more aggressive, a lot more on the front foot. And of course, a lot more fine print here as well. But I shall read it for all of you on your tiny screens. The perception of finger spin needs to change. I've bowled a lot of deliveries that are so subtle that people keep terming them as carom balls, off spin and arm balls. I'm trying to create different angles, to create different seam positions. When I bowl to a right-hander, I think like a left-arm spinner or a leg spinner. And when I bowl to a left-hander, I think like an off spinner. The thinking creates intent, and intent translates into practice. There is a lot of work that has gone there. It's just that the consensus on what I do needs to change. Ashwin, DK, Ashwin is not...
Yeah. That's a bit like Joy Bhattacharya's question, actually. Too confusing for my liking. I didn't understand. But as long as he understands and he knows what he wants to do, that's fine. It doesn't matter what people's perceptions are, I guess. He's a champion bowler. We all know what a great cricketer he is. And he's been an absolute gem of a cricketer over a period of time. In the last decade, he's won more man of the series than anybody in Test cricket, especially coming from India. So that says a lot about his skills. He's been a gun bowler even in T20. I mean, this finger spinner, wrist spinner, all of that is okay. But as long as you keep delivering, I think people will take notice and see how good you are.
Zach, I think if it was just kind of...
No, I think he's forgotten to mention the leg spin which he bowls.
I think he did somewhere in there. He's like, I'm thinking he's 2-3 different spinners. No, he's a leg spinner, also he's a left arm spinner.
Ball, off spin, the variation which is... what you're trying to say, I think, that there is a lot of thinking which goes in.
Yeah.
And then there is a lot of effort and work which he does on figuring out different kind of methods to trick batters. So that is something which needs to be appreciated. Yes, it's tough for everyone. I think all the bowlers, white ball cricket doesn't come easy, and you have to stay one step ahead of what batters are thinking. So that needs to be appreciated is what he's trying to say.
Yeah. I think what he's saying is that he does there's so much nuance and thought in what he does that don't kind of put him in that same box of saying, oh, it's only this is an arm ball and this is a carom ball, because he does so much more. And there's a lot of subtle variations, even to his subtle variations. So I think what he's saying is everybody should just kind of think a little deeper about what he does and don't just kind of write it off. I think what troubles him, DK, is that people kind of try to gauge him just on the surface. You have to go a little deeper to gauge Ashwin. But you're right. It shouldn't really bother him. It shouldn't bother him. He's one of the greatest.
To be honest, DK, I think I completely get what he's saying. He doesn't want to be pigeonholed along with the rest of the finger spinning world. And why he says that is he feels he has a carom ball. He thinks like a leg spinner, so he bowls more of the outgoing deliveries to the to the right hander. And for a for a left hander, obviously he's bowling a lot more of his stock ball, which is his off spin. He wants the world to perceive him as a bowler who is very versatile and not a finger spinner. He's somewhere between a finger spinner and a mystery spinner. I think we haven't got what's the word for him, but he's somewhere between there, because I know for a fact that he feels when he wasn't picked for the Indian team, it was because people are feeling he's a finger spinner and hence he wasn't picked. He wants people to know that I can bowl a leg spin. I use my seam positions. I use the other variations that I have. What does a wrist spinner do? A wrist spinner, why is it difficult to hit him compared to a finger spinner? With a finger spinner, you know the ball is turning one way and you line up before even he's bowled and you're ready for that ball and you go after him. What does Ashwin do? Yes, he bowls off spin, but when a right-hander comes, he has the ball that goes away, which is a carom ball or a knuckle ball, however you want to call it. So he's saying, I can do that consistently, ball after ball, and underlights, obviously, some batters find it hard to pick him, and hence don't pigeonhole me into the off spinner, finger spinner bracket. I'm slightly different to the others, is what he's trying to say, is at least what I'm trying to assume, even though I'm from the same neck of the woods. Sometimes I don't understand what he says, but on this occasion, I think I'm close to what he's trying to say.
I think you are, but if we were to just underline the emotion for a second, Zach, I think, and agreeably so, a little bit of frustration perhaps as well. I mean, didn't play white ball cricket for a lot of time. And he's saying that could just be because of, the marketing and branding spin, right? That he's like a finger spinner and he can't do stuff. You can understand for a champion bowler like him, for a guy who's won all these man of the series, there can be a bit of frustration that can creep in saying, don't you get it? I'm really smart. Why is nobody getting it?
What happens, GK, is that you also have to understand who replaced him. Washington Sundar, somebody who's tall, bowls in the power play. He's bowled well over a period of time and he's grabbed his opportunity with both hands. Unless and until he fails, it would have been hard for Ashwin to get into the World Cup. Even this World Cup, if Washington Sundar was fit and ready to go, I think there was a great chance that he would have made it to the squad first. And because over a period of time, he's been playing T20 cricket. So I'm assuming he would have made it. So, we can all understand Ashwin's frustrations, but there was somebody who came, took his spot as an off spinner and did very well in the limited time that he did play. He's won a couple of man of the series as a bowler, and he's grown as a cricketer, and he's done well for his franchisee and he's done well for the country. So then it becomes, what India can't afford to do is play two finger spinners, because they'll play Jadeja, which is already two finger spinners. They can't add one more to that and make it three. So that's where I think the problem has been. But that's the beauty of Indian cricket as well, the strength of it. You lose your chance and then somebody else comes and grabs it with both hands, and then it becomes that much harder to get your space back in the team.
Yeah, true. It's the story. You've seen it. That's just the problem of plenty that is there in Indian cricket right now. And I don't think anyone's complaining about it. For Scotland, they've decided to go unchanged into this game. Let's have a look at their playing 11 and see what that looks like. There it is. Of course, Kyle Kurtzer as the captain came back into the team at the last game. George Munsey, their hard-hitting opener there. Matthew Cross, their wicket-keeper. Had a lot of chatter in the previous game. Was saying some very interesting things. I'm sure DK would have appreciated the content that was coming from behind the stumps from young Cross.
Yeah, Cross was a bit cross with the New Zealand batters at that stage. So he said the whole of India is cheering, come on, get this batsman out. But, even though it's a cheeky comment, I think it was pretty nice and it said in good humor. So I think we all loved it, especially the social media for sure loved it.
I loved it. It was really funny. Let's pull their squad back up again and see the rest of the team. There's Richie Berrington, of course, with the experienced McLeod, Michael Leask. Chris Greaves was the one, I think, who Cross said that to. Then there's Mark Watt, their spinner, who's been doing really well. Alistair Evans, Safian Sharif, and Bradley Wheel. So that's their team. The bowlers that have impressed you here, Zach, from the Scotland team?
Sharif, I think he had a good start with the new ball last time. Watt, of course, he has been very consistent with the left arm spin, uses his height well, uses the angles very well. Another finger spinner who is who always keeps his thinking hat on. And so these are the players. List also had a good outing with the bat in hand. Since they're batting first, now we'll have to see how they start the innings. And this batting lineup, GK, mainly depends on Munsey to start with. So if he starts well, then things are different for him always.
Yeah. Zach, just want to talk about, India is going to be bowling first. So just want to talk about Hardik, the bowler. From the little that you saw him, he's only bowled a few overs, but from the little that you saw him, what did you make of that?
Well, needs a lot of bowling under his belt to start with. Obviously he's not been able to do that, even though he's been wanting to bowl for a while now. He's not got that opportunity to get those overs under his belt. Not the ideal of preparation, I would say. So match time will just get him better and better.
Yeah.
The good news is that he started bowling, so that is the most important thing. That does change the balance. Bowling that 1 over in the power play, maybe in the middle overs, so that does add that flexibility of for any captain to maneuver his resources. Otherwise you get stuck in terms of using a certain bowler in certain way. You have to think of the back end, you have to think of the power play. So all those options, they become easier to make use of tactically. So that's the advantage which Hardik provides. So the good thing is he's bowling now. More he bowls, better it's going to get for him.
DK, what did you make of Hardik the bowler? You know that he's a keen competitor and obviously always wants to be in the game. Great to see him with the bat in the last game as well. But let's just talk about him with the ball.
First thing we have to understand the body here a bit. Of all the injuries, there are a lot of places any injury is bad, but the back is a very, very tricky place because neither can you stand nor can you lie down. It's right in the middle of the body, and it obviously is the most critical part of the body in many ways to do any sort of motion. And when for bowling, a lot of it is around the back in the sense that you have the core, you put a lot of stress on it. So he's coming back from an injury, which is to his back, which is always very hard on a bowler. So the problem with an injury is a lot of people think, oh, they come back and you should start bowling. But you need an X amount of overs for your body to get used to the load, for the body, for you to get a feel of where you want to bowl, what you want to bowl. He hasn't bowled so much. Even for a batter, when you come back from an injury, that's the key. To put in that amount of hours to get the body feeling the same way. And that's what Hardik Pandya will definitely be lacking, be it batting or bowling for that matter. Even more bowling, because obviously he wouldn't have bowled as much as he would have liked in the lead up to the World Cup. But the one good thing about Hardik, he's a fighter. He's somebody who understands his body these days much, much better. He's training a lot better. And it'll be good to see him in action. The good part of it is he depends a lot on his slow ones, his cutters. So I'm sure he'll be using that a lot. And the advantage he has at Dubai is a big ground. So, and he's obviously bowling first. So a lot of things going for him this game for sure.
Yeah, Zach, I don't think a lot of people understand just for fast bowlers. For you guys, first of all, hardest job. I don't know, maybe the wicketkeeper disagrees, but the hardest job, fast bowling. Yes, wicketkeeper agrees. That's a lot of squats, I know. But yeah, all right. So,
without a doubt, you see a lot more injuries for fast bowlers than wicketkeepers. Go ahead, Zach.
Yes, so there you go. Just wanted to make
sure. Cutting still is a easier exercise to do, right? Than twisting your back, running in, jumping, all those kind of. So fast bowling actually, GK, the body is not designed to do that naturally. So you put a lot of forces, and if you're not aligned properly, then that can really be a cause of worry for anyone. You've seen the history of bowlers. Some bowlers, they have got mixed actions, and then their career is cut short drastically. So that is something which you have to be careful of in terms of alignment. To start with, and with anything, be it just as simple as just working on, say, running, right? For anyone, for that matter, you have to build it. You can't decide that, okay, today you're going to go and run 10K. You have to work towards it. Some people are naturally able to do that, but everyone will get better with management of workload, and as they do progress towards achieving a certain goal. So that's what I was trying to explain. For Hardik, what's happening? It's just like he's everyone is desperate for him to bowl, but he's not getting that ideal preparation of coming to a level. So if you start with bowling 6 balls, you start slow and build that intensity up. Like he's kind of been forced in a way, not by just himself, but also just the way things are going around. That he has to step up so that he's not missing out on those important matches. So that also doesn't help. I think what he needs is just clear window of preparation with regard to bowling, and approaching in a very very systematic manner where he can sustain that. We've seen that with him, that he's bowled a few overs, then he got some niggles, then he had to stop. That stop and start has not really helped him. We've seen him bowling in Sri Lanka series. Then for the IPL, he couldn't bowl. Now he's come in the World Cup, the start of the tournament, he couldn't bowl because he needed that much time to prepare. This stop and start doesn't really help for anyone. So to progress and for him to be able to sustain his bowling side longer, I think he needs a clear window which should be provided to him, and the work which is more systematic to get him ready to keep up with the workloads and the forces which your body go through for a bowler.
And on that point, GK, I do feel, post this World Cup, I do see quite a few of the players taking a massive break, a proper break. And I think at the top of that list would be Hardik Pandya. I think he needs to go back and really work on his body. And then obviously he has a bit of a mixed action as well, which is neither open nor side on. So he has to go and work on that body of his, come back a lot stronger so that he's able to sustain bowling, at least in white ball cricket for sure. He's bowling 4 overs. I mean, not 4 overs, 2 overs right now. He needs to take it up to 4 and then to 10 before he plays an ODI. So that's going to take some work. So I have a feeling post the World Cup, he will take a break and just work on his body and get fitter and then come back.
Yeah, because India goes into a New Zealand series right after the World Cup gets over. Right after that, they go to South Africa. So it's pretty much been non-stop because most of these guys left home on, I think, the 10th of May it was. And have just been in England and then in the UAE. So it's been pretty non-stop for them. And of course, New Zealand is playing the 3 T20s and also 2 test matches. And the test match squad was announced as well. And DK, to your point, New Zealand is doing that as well. Seeing the workload, they're doing the management. They've left Colin de Grandhomme out of the squad and Trent Boult as well, right? So they've left Trent Boult out as well because of the workload that he's done. Zach, we'll see more of this now, won't we? Because this is hard on players. Non-stop travel, bio bubbles. You're not being able to kind of go out and get any time kind of switched off from the game. You'll have to do this to take care of them, to get longevity.
Absolutely. You have to identify key series, these key windows, key tournaments. So if you are looking at certain players changing that for you in big tournaments, then you got to prepare like that and manage their workload accordingly. So I think this is how it's going to be in modern day cricket now, that where players and the squads will be designed that way. You look at England team as well. They have separate coaches for separate formats. So things are getting more and more specialized as the game is getting more and more professional. So yes, this is definitely going to be future, and that's how the planning should be done. Identifying your players, identifying their rest windows, identifying their workload, and then not really looking at a particular series result, because of that. That needs to be very clear, because at times what happens, you plan a certain thing and then you see that, we are in trouble, we need Bumrah back. If you've said Bumrah needs a rest, and then you say no, because we are in this situation, we need Bumrah, and then you go away from that plan. I think the plan needs to be set, and then you just need to stick with that irrespective of what's happening around them.
Yeah, England did that with Moeen. If you remember, Moeen was supposed to take a break when England came to India, and then they got confused, and then they said, no, he's done so well, now we have to keep him back. Okay, no, let him go. And then he came back, and then they didn't play him with the T20s. There was absolute confusion what they were doing, after which Moeen has just said, forget it, I'm not playing test cricket anymore, or for whatever reason. But that is a point. You have to have this very clear, DK. And then no matter what the situation is, you can't change, because it's very difficult. I don't think that with cricket becoming, players are being, even by fans, sometimes you feel like are just being treated as commodities. They're human beings at the end of the day, man. They're flesh, blood, and emotion.
I completely agree what Zach has said, but I can tell you, even Zach knows that it's never going to happen. We lose one test match somewhere, they'll call the best batter, they'll call Bumrah, like he says, in Ashwin. There is no question of break, because every bilateral series we play, for that matter, every series we play, we want to win. I mean, that's the expectation of India, that's the expectation of the broadcasters, that's the expectation all three of us sitting here as well. So, we're so hell-bent on results. Whatever Zach said can only happen if you're a process-based cricketing nation, and it's never been that way. It will never be, because of the number of players in India. There are about 40 players there. So there's always going to be confusion wherein you throw in another player, he comes, he does well, and then your senior player comes, he suppose has a couple of bad games, then he's going to be scared of his spot. And the new guy, obviously there'll be confusion between the administrators and the selectors and the coaches, whether the new guy should be there or the old guy should be there. So in India, there have been so many cases where they've given rest to a player and that player has been rested till today. He's never played for the country again. So, when you have cases like that, I think India is always going to be a country which would like to talk about these things, and it feels good and it, sounds nice, but it's never going to happen because, process based is a hard word to follow. It's very easily thrown out there, but it's something that requires a lot of diligence. But I can tell you, if there's one man who can probably think of doing it to some extent, hopefully if he's given all the love and affection from the board, is Rahul Dravid, because he has been a process driven coach for some time. But I can promise you, India is a result based nation, and so be it. And it has been the case for so long, and that's why we're in such a strong place in world cricket today as we speak.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got the results as well from what he's been doing with junior cricket, with under-19 cricket, with India A cricket. He's had the results there. He's had the results in terms of success of transitioning the younger players onto the big stage as well. He's done that quite a bit. But my final question about this, and then we'll wrap up and come back to the game, is that, you see with a team like England, right? Their white ball team and their red ball team are, completely different. Very little crossover, right? Which is why the Ashes team can leave already while their T20 team is playing in the UAE. Do you see that happening? Because with India, in the first two games, I think we had 7 or 8 players who had played the test match against England, who were then playing in the T20 game. Do you see this happening going forward with Dravid as well? When captains are becoming different, perhaps can teams also, can players also become different? Do you see a little bit of a change in T20 philosophy going forward?
Not in the close future, GK. I think, but I've been saying one thing with regard to Test cricket and the white ball cricket, which is going on and how it's growing. You got to make them run parallelly. You pretty much most of the countries they have their all the test playing nations. The test playing 11 is independent of white ball cricket players. Pretty much like 1 or 2 players, 3 players max. They play all the 3 formats, and in that scenario, then you can actually give them the choice. Or as cricketing board, you can make the choice that, okay, for this series, we feel that, okay, this is the important series. A Virat Kohli or a Rohit Sharma or a Bumrah, for that matter, who's playing all the formats, you can decide for them, saying that, okay, play this test series, even if a white ball series is running parallelly. I think that is definitely should happen. Is something which I've been advocating for a while now. It's just good for the game as well, that you don't want to the windows are shrinking more and more. You're not finding time to have everything going. So the best thing is to do is that you have a test format which is running parallelly, independently of what is happening in the white ball cricket. Because if you look at the fan following also, it's just completely different. Like the test cricket follow the purest of the game, and then the white ball cricket is something, the entertainment quotient goes higher there. So if the following is different, then why you are clubbing it together and saying that, okay, because we can't do a white ball series because a test series is scheduled there. I think it should run parallel.
There's some brutal reality, some reality bombs that Zach is dropping over there. It's true about the viewership. I think that's an important point. And you know what, Zach? I think more than the players, more than the game itself, sometimes when it's almost about the viewers, right? Because now with these kinds of rights fees and what's happening, I guess it's the viewer who almost kind of decides, right? And so when you say that red ball and white ball are happening separately, you're like, oh, hang on. A broadcaster says, I can run both together. That just means more money. Both can happen together.
It happened already the last game.
India Sri Lanka, but India Sri Lanka
parallelly. India Sri Lanka is also another example. Now Ashes team, England Ashes team has already gone there to prepare for Ashes. Is another example. So it is happening at the moment as we speak. It's just not structured that way at the moment.
Yeah, it's slowly going. Maybe that's the one thing that will come out of this pandemic, because playing 3 All three formats, internationally and club-wise, is difficult in itself. When you add pandemic and bio bubbles and restrictions to it, it's just teetering on impossible now. All right, I'll tell you what else is impossible. Anybody getting the prediction game right? It's a tough one, man. It's a tough one. But we get it right. We've got a few right today. Between us, it's a team effort. We've got it sorted. Scotland batting first in Dubai. India's put them into bat. What will their score be? 127. No scotch for me ever again. That's my guess. Zach, you're going next?
That's it.
That's it.
127, you said?
Yeah.
That's it.
Come on.
127.
Was,
let's all stick to one prediction and see if that number works for us or no.
but tell me something. How can we park 3 cars in the same parking spot?
One above the other.
That's a true Bombay boy. Yeah?
122.
122. Okay, wow, he's gone even lower. DK?
118.
1-8. Collective faith. Lack of collective faith. All right. Well, I don't know if they decide to get upset. No, they won't. They're already on the field, so they can't get upset by what we've said.
They are already upset with Virat, what he said at the toss. We are safe here.
We don't matter. We don't matter. All right, great. So we're going to come back in the 10th over with Cricbuzz Combox. That's all we have for you right now. From Zaheer Khan, Dinesh Karthik, and me, Gaurav Kapur. Thank you for watching Cricbuzz Live.